Our other top story tonight, an arsenal inside of a Hollywood high-rise. We're told at least one high-powered gun pointed at a park. And tonight, neighbors inside that building are talking after police say they arrested a man who may have been planning a mass shooting.
Well, KCAL News reporter Rachel Kim is live in Hollywood now with what she's learned about that suspect. Rachel?
Pat and Jeff, the LAPD has yet to release new information about the suspect, including his criminal history and a possible motive. But we are learning more about him from people who've encountered him here at this park and in the apartment complex where he lived and had a high-powered firearm mounted and pointed down. LAPD still on the scene Thursday afternoon at the Hollywood high-rise where police say a 25-year-old resident had all of this arsenal in his apartment. On Tuesday, investigators seized high-powered rifles, a sniper rifle, shotguns, handguns, more than 1,000 pounds of ammunition, high-capacity magazines, scopes, and body armor. This man, who didn't want to be identified, told us the suspect, 25-year-old Braxton Johnson, was at a party he was at in one of the apartments on Friday night. He says this is a picture of Johnson at the party.
He was having like really weird conversations with people, and a lot of people started to feel uncomfortable. Then he came up to me, then he showed me his gun, and he said, "Hey, listen, I'm a security guard. It's okay. Like, I just want to show you." He was kind of like showing off. He like went to some girl's apartment and like gave her a knife as a present.
The resident who shared this video tells us he was taking part in a group chat with other residents on Tuesday when they saw officers going through the hallways and then into the suspect's 18th floor apartment. Frightened residents recorded through cracked doors and later posted this video showing a man in handcuffs being put into a police car.
There was about 12, not cop cars, but police vehicles, 20 or more cops, all in riot gear. Guns cocked.
A range of emotions from residents today after learning from police that one of the seized high-powered firearms was set up on a stand and pointed down towards the park.
Honestly, there's a lot of places that were a clear shot, which is kind of terrifying.
One man who lives in the high-rise also didn't want to be identified, but he told us he encountered the suspect at the park earlier in the week.
He made a little comment about, "Nice to meet your dog," because if I end up sniping them, and that's what really like triggered my anxiety. I'm like, oh my God, is he about to like do a shooting? Is he about to like, it was crazy.
The LAPD came out here on Tuesday because of a possible mental illness call. They say Johnson was also threatening security officers. Police say he was living alone and the guns seized were not registered to him. Investigators tell us Johnson had recently moved here from the East Coast and has a criminal history in other states.
I do feel like a mass shooting was definitely avoided.
Johnson was arrested on suspicion of making criminal threats, and at last check, he's being held on a $500,000 bail. Reporting live in Hollywood, Rachel Kim, KCAL News.
Thank you, Rachel. And we have more on this story. Mike Rogers at the desk. And Mike, we understand that you've been digging into this suspect's past, and he certainly has one.
Yeah, for the past several hours, you heard in Rachel's piece there that the LAPD says this man has criminal history in other states. So that's while I can tell you, we have located some minor issues, traffic violations in the state of Indiana, which is where we believe he is from, but unable so far to find that criminal history LAPD was talking about. Now, I want to show you some video of the arrest. We've asked LAPD multiple times to elaborate on this criminal history. They called it last night a violent criminal history. We've asked them several times to identify where that happened and what the nature of those were. So far, they've refused to give us that information. I can also tell you that I ran some record searches of him. I found some voter registrations from Indiana where it's listed that he may potentially have been in the military at some point in his life as well. So lots of unanswered questions here. We're trying to get that information from LAPD. As we come back out to the desk, I can tell you I've also reached out to several of his family members. So far, I've been able to make contact with a spouse of who we believe is one of his relatives. At this point, they gave no comment, didn't want to talk on the phone. We do have some other calls out to some other family members, though, to see if anybody can elaborate on what happened here and more about this suspect, Pat.